Mind you. Drip, drip, ay. Yeah, mind you. God bless my trip. Hold up. God is my trip. God is my trip. God is my trip. Yay. God is my trip. God is my trip. God is my trip. Yay. God is my trip. God is my trip. God is my trip. Yay. God is my trip. God is my trip. Dripping His glory all over me. Dripping His glory all over me. All is dripping on me, baby. Dripping on me, baby. Dripping His glory all over me. Over me.
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, okay. And do you, and you said that she treated mostly
Yeah, I guess
you all
most
the
like
same. Okay, so it was a balance. It was
I ran away. I was with other people. So I guess by the time I got to a place where I wanted to more understand her hurt, she wasn't willing to go back there.
he lived with you all.
Yeah, he lived with us at the
Okay.
time. I was back talking, but I was wearing his shirt. It was like a pajama shirt or whatever.
I am blessed. Yeah, I am blessed. Even when I'm here feeling like a mess, this life has shown me all kinds of stress, and also opened up my heart like the greatest treasure chest. I have grown, oh, oh, oh. Yes, I have grown, and I'm finding my way home. Yes, I have grown, and I'm finding my way home. Yes, I have.
Stayed together. I would say they probably stayed together about a total of maybe 4 or 5 years. But yeah, they probably met when I was around 9 or so. And then yeah, stayed
And
together for a
he never
while.
felt fatherly love. Like, did you ever, did he even try? I mean, you might have been mouthy, but did he ever like pull you to the side and was like, listen, forget that attitude you got. I'm your daddy now. You're gonna be my daughter. Not, and you just kept rebelling.
No,
You felt no type of love whatsoever.
no type of bond, no type of no.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
I don't remember him attempting to treat me like a daughter. Mm.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. And what about the boys? Was he at least trying to do father son things with them?
Um, Maybe there had probably been times where they did the guy stuff like sports, and I can remember again him being an army guy, he liked to work out, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he probably had more in common with them, sports and maybe going running, going for like jogs and stuff
Okay.
outside. But
Hmm.
the girl stuff or like bonding with me, being the girl. Mm-mm. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I was a girl and he felt like we had nothing in common. He ain't like to do what girls like to do. I don't know.
But you had two younger brothers, so this one of your brothers was by him, correct?
Yeah, but remember he came along later. So yeah, he came along when I was 12. But like I said, this guy had been around probably since I was about 9 or so.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, so but he'd had a baby by your mom, this guy.
Yes. When I was
Okay,
12, they had
okay.
they had my youngest brother.
And then they,
Yeah.
after a while, then they split up, and your youngest brother
hmm
stayed with y'all. Was he a
hmm
parent to the youngest brother? Did he still come back and forth
I
to
mean, I
show?
can remember him coming back and forth a little, but he
Okay,
disappeared not too shortly after, like, when my youngest brother was still pretty young. They kind of fell off. Because actually when my mom was pregnant with my youngest brother, he had another woman pregnant too. So he was one of those, spreading his seeds kind of all around, type of guys or whatever. So um yeah, he was a Rolling Stone. So he wasn't like he lived with us, but it was a lot of drama. I can remember her constantly chasing him down from woman's house to woman's house, that type of thing, right? Keying women's cars, what I'm saying? Just all of the drama, right, of it all. So yeah, it was like their relationship definitely started deteriorating, and then he wasn't around as much. He was with whatever other woman he was dealing with.
And didn't even visit his son.
I mean, he did initially, but then it fell off, and he didn't come around. And especially, I remember at one point there was almost like a custody thing that they had going on because he had actually taken my youngest brother and wouldn't give him back. So my mom had to do all that, and it was just to spite her. It was not because he wanted to be a daddy. It was just to make her mad. And my mom had to go through a lot of stuff, go through the court system to, finally get, because you know how the police, they be like, well, if there's no custody agreement, nothing we can do. So she had to go through a lot to, finally get my brother back after. It was a few days. She filed, some emergency, stuff, paperwork in the court so that she can get my brother back. But yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I feel like after that probably was maybe the end of their relationship after the whole,
Right.
kidnapping
Like
my little brother thing type of thing. And then it was, yeah.
Did she
But
date after
like
that?
I said, I was all about it. Like when he was gone, I was glad. I was happy. I hated him.
Aside from him being very militant, was he like what stemmed the hate? Where did the hate come from?
I think that's what it was. I think, like I said, this guy just kind of coming along, and thinking that he could kind of tell us what to do, or like make all these rules in the house, or kind of tell my mom how to raise us. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just kind of things like that. And yeah, if you don't build relationship, all you're asking for is rebellion. You know what I'm saying? At that point, like you can't come in as a stranger and start disciplining somebody else's kids. That does not, it ain't never gonna work, especially when they older. You build relationship first. And then you start adding discipline once you've established an actual relationship. But yeah, he didn't he ain't know that.
Okay. And do you remember the brothers getting into it with him at all? Any fights?
Definitely not my younger, definitely not my younger one, because like I said, I think he was just too young and just went along with the flow. And I don't really remember my oldest one having issues with him. I don't. And like I said, I don't remember if that was because he was barely around from when he had started getting locked up and stuff or not. But yeah.
Okay. So your older brother was just out of the picture majority of all the time.
Yeah, like he was either just not home, because he was able to just kind of come and go as he pleased, or yeah, he started getting locked up. And once that pattern of getting locked up started, it never stopped until probably more recently now. But yeah, he spent a good majority of his life, like my dad, in and out of jail. So
Is he in
he still
therapy?
struggles with drug. No, not that I know of, and I know he still struggles with drugs even now. Yeah.
Okay. How was you all's relationship?
We don't really have one. Um, we never were really close, like I said, because he started getting locked up and stuff and being in and out of jail. And so can I pause it? Because I feel like you can hear her.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so when we stopped, we were talking about you and your older brother relationship. You were saying that you all never really had a relationship.
Yeah, we weren't ever really close, and I can remember, like I said, by the time he started, I mean, I can remember him stealing cars and stuff in front of me. But it was like by the time he started getting locked up, that's just kind of the way it was. And so as we kind of matured into, the people we were really going to be, like adults, like yeah, like we didn't really, I guess you would even say, know each other. And yeah, I can remember when he was there, even before he started getting locked up. Again, he wasn't really there because he was able to more so come and go as he pleased, and so he did. Yeah.
Now, do you try to talk to him about the fact, like compare the fact that he's on drugs, what happened to your father, had those deep type of conversations, he's going through that path, or is that like a touchy subject? Do you feel
So
that should
I would never do that. I would
Okay.
never do that. But
Okay.
I know that my mom has kind of tried that tactic, with
Mm-hmm.
him. And honestly, it's one of those things where he embraces it because he's named after my dad, and he
Okay.
kind of be like, "That is what it is." Like I look up to my dad, like this is where I get the name from. I'm him. I'm like I'm a mini him almost. Like he almost embraces it. Yeah,
So
like he's
when you,
supposed to be, like my dad. I don't know. Can't describe it.
like he's supposed to go down the path he's going down.
Like that's his name, and that's like they supposed to have the same life, I guess.
Right. So you kind of like stay away from that.
So no, it's not so much that we were just never close. Like I said, once he started getting locked up and stuff, I start, becoming older and living my life and things like that. And we never really got back together, or got together, I guess, period, to learn each other and, really have a brother sisterly bond type of thing. Like it was, yeah. And then, I mean, we would have times where we, may talk, here and there, or, definitely, family reunions, stuff like that with Sam, but actually having a relationship, that was never there that I can remember.
Okay. Is that important for
Like,
you?
I never thought about that. Family is important to me,
Okay. Do you
but
consider
I
him
guess,
family?
yeah, because I mean, we're related. So I don't know, I guess you would say, well, relatives and family, right? Um, I definitely love the idea of family. But I never really thought about specific family members.
Okay.
But I know I've definitely always wanted a family, a tight knit family. Um, but it just didn't really happen.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not
But
one of those people that have to build it to like put it together. Like you're not gonna go and grab him and grab this one and make sure that you be the mediator and make sure everyone gets along. You're just not that type of person.
um, I have tried to put things together in the past, but just not just him in particular, just family stuff, period. Just hey, let's just do this, right? Everybody. Um, but I would say with him in particular, of course, it would be difficult now, because he and I really, I don't have an issue with him, but he definitely has an issue with me being vocal and sharing my story, now. So I have not spoken to him since. I only know that he has an issue because my mom tells me he has an issue. But I haven't spoken to him since I started, openly, publicly, sharing my story. But I know that he doesn't like it, so we definitely haven't spoken since I started sharing.
Okay. And your other two brothers, how are your relationship with them now at this age?
So the younger brother, he and I kind of fell off, as I, grew up and started my own family and then moved out the house, and then left for the military, so I can remember, I guess, like earlier in my military career, we kind of stayed in touch more, kept in touch more. But more recently, not really. Um, and then my youngest brother, my baby brother, because I guess of the age gap, we really never got close, because I was pregnant with my oldest son and he was like 5 or 6 or something, so him and my oldest son are only like 5 so years
Wow.
apart. So, I was coming into being a mother and, yeah, then I moved out when my son was 2. And so, yeah, I guess you would say from from my youngest big brother being like 8 or so, I haven't even been around, haven't lived with him.
Okay.
So we really never, you know what I mean, really connected like that because I'm basically grown and he's, a kid. So, yeah.
Okay. So when you say that your older brother has an issue with you sharing your story, you don't have a relationship really with the other one, so they really don't care either way probably about your story. What is it, the story that you share with others? Because we haven't even delved into that. Mhm.
So the story just being that it was, my older brother who actually didn't molest me when we were
Mhm.
younger, when we were growing up.
Okay.
So he has an issue. My oldest brother has an issue with that. Yeah.
Okay. And he has an issue, you're saying, with you telling people your
Yeah.
truth, or he has an issue with it even happening?
I think both. I think he has
Okay.
an issue with me publicly telling my truth. And then
Okay.
he has an issue with it happening. I honestly believe that he part of the reason why he does drugs and hasn't been able to get clean and just struggles, right, is really because he struggles with the guilt of what he did. Because I learned, too, as I was an adult, um, like he has called me before. Like I can remember, like I wasn't married yet, but I was probably engaged or, dating and happy, right? Didn't want to think about negatives. I was probably in the space that my mom is in, right? Not really trying to think about, the past and all that stuff. And I can remember my brother calling me crying, just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. Such and such, just can you forgive me and all these things. And I'm just like, bro, like you being real dramatic, like calm down. Like, what I'm saying? Like I remember like I'm feeling like I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like if we was kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. Like you're doing too much right now. But it would be like it was bothering him. It was on his chest. He called me all emotional, apologizing for something that I'm like, I moved past from this. Like, what is happening right now? And then even at that time, I remember him sharing that, it wasn't just me, but it was my cousin as well. Like the one I told you we were a week apart. He, had him and her had something, kind of going between them two. I think he did some stuff to her too. So yeah, like it bothers him, like conversations, like I said, him randomly calling me, with that one. And then, I know he shared it with my mom, just, I guess him struggling. I think he struggles with the guilt. I think he struggles with the guilt of what he did. I think it's part of the reason why he feels like he's not worthy of healthy relationships, of good things.
I got a trunk full of demons, cause I'm round shotgun moving in the Holy Ghost.
Box trunk full of demons. Go ahead, try it our time, no rope.
I got a trunk full of demons, bind them up tight now, we ain't let none go.
Trunk full of demons. Ride around flexing. I see in the Holy Ghost.
Devil, I see you, go back where you from. Nobody believe you can lie if you want. Seated with Christ, you can't ride in the front. Need to sit down, put your pride in the trunk. You got my bro and he didn't know, but now you exposed for all that you brung. Play with my sister, got her own twist. You coming up missing, I promise you done. I preach to my men while they rolling the gas. I preach to the strippers right after they dance. I preach to the boys as they thumbing through bands. I preach to the stubbers with sticks in their hands. I got a trunk full of demons. They try to hide when they seen us. Now they all kicking and screaming, bleeding the blood till they bleeding. Come on right now in the name of Jesus. I got a trunk full of demons, cause I'm round shotgun moving in the Holy Ghost.
Box trunk full of demons. Go ahead, try it our time, no rope.
And how old were you?
I think that he thinks that he's good.
How old
He's
were
good a
you?
lot. I was probably around 9. It's like, so it happens. Like I said, we moved out when we left grandma's house.
Mhm.
It was like I was probably around 9, 10 years old. Let's say,
Okay.
and this is really when stuff started really, I don't know, would you say going downhill? Because it was already dysfunctional before then. But I guess actually us being on our own and out of the shield or the protection or the covering of, because grandma's house was kind of full too, right? My aunt lived there, with her kids and stuff. Grandma's house was kind of full. But it was like safety in those numbers, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know. But when we moved away, yeah, like that's definitely when. So my mom could only afford a 2-bedroom. So it was her and my youngest brother's dad. They had one room, and then when we finally moved out on our own, and then the other bedroom went to my two brothers because they were two boys. So I actually didn't have a room. I slept on the sofa bed in the living room. Yeah. So I didn't. It took me a while to even reconcile that. Right. That probably more so than the boys. I know with my mom, I think it was one of those things where like it's two of them, it's one of her. We'll give them the rooms, two boys. But it definitely should have been the opposite, right? Looking back on it in retrospect, me being the girl, you know, especially growing up, you know, going through girl things, you know, periods and all those things. I was out in the open. Like I really realized like I was, as soon as, because we had a house apartment where as soon as you walked in, um, it was probably like a little breezeway, you know, like with that closet door right there, and then it was like bam, the living room, right, and that was my bedroom essentially. Like I would, you know, when I would get out of bed, you know, in the morning and stuff, I would, you know, close the sofa bed up, you know, and just kind of sit on the couch and just chill in the living room, you know. But that was my room, you know. I didn't have a room.
So in the living room, let me make sure I have this dynamic. It's not like just a mother and kid. We have the youngest father's dad there. It's not your father.
Right.
And he's in the bedroom. And we have your other brothers in the room. You're in the living room. You sleep in your pajamas, probably.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So that was just, you know, the dynamic of it, and that's just the way that it was, me kind of being out in the open and not really protected. And then, you know, it became a point to where my brother would come out there and, you know, get in the bed with me sometimes, you know, my oldest brother, not the baby, not the younger one. And yeah, start molesting me. He would just come out into the living room. My mama was at work and stuff like that. Because again, this was my room. This is where I basically stayed. You know, yeah. If I wasn't actually up, like sometimes I wouldn't close the sofa bed up. Like I would just stay, you know, laying down, like, you know, all day. If it was a weekend and I couldn't go anywhere anyway, because I got to stay home and watch my baby brother, you know, whatever the case may be. Yeah.
And how long did it go on for?
I don't remember it going on long.
Okay.
Because I remember, I don't know what made me tell, but I've told. So I think it was probably months. And then I finally, you know, told.
Okay.
Yeah.
You told your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And in no point in time, like your mother, your her husband, I'm not her husband, the youngest father, your youngest brother's father, he never came out in the middle of the night, didn't hear anything, nobody got a glass of water, was like, what you doing over there? When you were in the living room and your brother had came out. Like,
oh no, I don't think he was there either. I don't like any of the adults, I don't think they were there. You know, both of them worked. That was also partially of the reason why I was usually there with my baby brother. You know, is because both of them worked. You know, I was the babysitter.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you say you told your mom, and then what happened?
I can remember he was out, my oldest brother was, and I was about to go to bed. And I can remember me, you know, wanting to talk to her, asking her, can I talk to her? And we sat down at the dining room table. And I told her, you know, what was going on, you know, that he was, you know, getting on top of me, you know, and kind of, you know, things like that. And I remember while we were having the conversation, he came home, my older brother. He came home, and so she told him to come and sit down at the table too. And he did. And I remember we just kind of all talked about it. And he agreed that he would stop, you know, and period, the end.
Okay.
That's it. He stopped. Like I can't remember it. I don't think it ever happened again after that. It being exposed and having that conversation. And then again, shortly after, I think is when he started, getting locked up and all of those things too. So it did stop.
Okay. So in your brain, were you like, okay, well, mom handled it?
Yeah. hmm I did feel like that. Yeah.
Okay. And at what age did you think differently?
Hmm.
Because technically, in some families, some people may think that is a way to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's the way to handle it. It's the right way or
Um,
the wrong way. But there was a point in time when you decided that was not the right way that it should have been handled. I just want to know when that
I,
happened.
I think it was probably when I was an adult, like me being
Okay.
a grown woman and me trying to just navigate life and me becoming a mother. You know what I mean? And me kind of raising, well, I definitely, straight off the top, I knew that the whole, dynamic between me and her, the baby daddy, the youngest one's father, I definitely knew that that was not okay. Being able to speak from a mother's perspective, because I can remember becoming a mother and being like, I'm never going to put no man in front of my child,
Okay.
because I can remember that was done to me. So that was like at the top of my list of no-nos for parenting, right? Was definitely that. So very early on, I knew I didn't want to be that type of mother. And I can remember saying, I'm never going to be weak for no man. I'm never going to look weak, because I can, just remember I didn't respect the fact that she used to chase him around, and you know what I'm saying? He was a cheater and she knew it, and that type of thing. I can remember, having that resolve. And I think just as I just began to mature and develop as a woman and really just trying to figure myself out, did I really realize I can remember having a conversation with my pastor where he said to me, he said, because I was angry. I struggled with anger for such a long time. And he said at a very young age, you started using anger and aggression and all of these things to protect yourself because you didn't have it. You weren't protected. Growing up, you were not protected. I can just remember him saying those words. I was left unprotected. I was not protected. And again, this is really me just seeking counseling because I'm trying to figure out why I'm so mad all the time. Why did I pop off like this? What is going on? And yeah, he started helping me like put together the pieces of it. Went back to childhood, where it started from. Like I wasn't protected. And so I put on, I guess, these layers of, I'm gonna protect myself. Like now I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like now I'm a fighter. Like now I am, because when my brother was doing what he was doing, I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? He bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? you know, the my youngest brother's dad, he bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's slinging me around. Like I can't. It's just me, and I always got to be in the house, and I'm, what I'm saying, always having to take care of my brothers, and it's just there was. It was just me and my mom was gone. She's at work. And nobody's protecting me, and I got two men coming at me. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, well, my brother was a teenager, but boys start to get big. You know what I'm saying? He still, wasn't no little boy. Yeah. And so I started protecting me. But it manifests itself as just me being angry and real combative, very, very much combative, and being okay with it. Like I was gonna show you that you wasn't gonna cross me, you wasn't gonna talk to me crazy, you wasn't gonna disrespect me, you wasn't gonna hurt me. Yeah.
Okay. And you went back to your mother and told her that she handled it wrong.
I don't remember if I said those words.
Okay. Or that you were expecting more,
I don't think I said those words.
needed
I
more.
think that I can remember going through, like I said, this counseling process with my pastor And honestly, to be honest with you, I don't even remember if me and my mother was speaking at the time because again, you know, at this time I'm in the military, I'm doing my own thing. It's me and my son, you know what I mean? I don't even live in the same state anymore. I'm just trying to figure me out.
Okay.
And up until that point, and probably during that time frame, me and my mom were back and forth and in and out and, you know, cuss each other out and then stop speaking for months at a time. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot, you know, kind of going on, you know, for the years after, you know, I became, you know, an adult and really left the house and we would have these first times, but we weren't really speaking and we weren't really, you know what I mean? I don't think I brought it up even then. I think Pastor was helping me understand some things about me. And I didn't look at it as, Mom, I need to, you know, kind of talk to you about the stuff that Pastor's saying to me. It was, okay, I'm getting to the root of this. I'm trying to make sense of me. And I was interested in dealing with me, if that makes sense. I want to know what was going on with me. That's why I started the counseling, the pastoral counseling. And so I didn't bring my mom into it at that time. It wasn't even, I don't even think my pastor suggested it. It wasn't until I was actually seeking non-pastoral counseling, you know, with actually like a therapist, where she suggested, you know, talking to my mom and, you know, talking to my brother and, you know, different, you know, measures like that. But my pastor, with me and him, I was just trying to figure out me.
Okay. Okay.
And again, we didn't actually have a conversation with my mom bought into it until I kicked her out the wedding, you know, later on. And then, of course, that's when she initiated, you know, I want to sit down and talk to you and your past and everything so that I can get my butt back in this wedding. But yeah, I didn't tell her until I was urged to. And even at that time, by the time I was talking to my therapist about it too, you know, everything, childhood and things like that. And it really wasn't until my therapist said, you know, the words of, you're not talking to anyone else. You're keeping all your feelings kind of hidden, so, you know, so to speak, to protect everyone else. Meanwhile, you're suffering, you're struggling. And I didn't think that by not talking about it, it was having an impact on me. Again, I was just trying to figure out me. Yeah. It was like she was the one that kind of helped me realize that I even needed to talk to them about it. I thought it was about me. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was. I didn't want it to be about them. I didn't think it was about them. I'm like, okay, so yeah, I wasn't protected. So, you know, this is why I'm aggressive. Like, okay, you know, it was helping me understand why I'm aggressive, why I am the way that I am. I didn't think a conversation was necessary. Yeah.
And did you think when you talked to either one of them, it would be more receptive than what it was? Like, how was that feeling when you talked to them and it wasn't as receptive as you thought it would be? Or did you even think it would be receptive or even cared?
So when I finally did talk to them, like I said, my mom, I don't even know how to describe her. I'm at a point now where I've accepted her for her, right? But yeah, initially definitely struggled with why, again, like I told you earlier, why is she not willing to talk about this? Like, you don't love me because you don't want to help me come out of this. You know, you really don't love me like a mother's supposed to love a child, because I'm telling you that I'm struggling and you don't want to help me get understanding. You don't really care about me. Yeah, I was disappointed by that. But again, now I'm okay. As far as my brother, I would say he's receptive, but we never go into details, right? He acknowledges what he did. He'll say things like, because even when I first told him that God, you know, has led me to a place where I need to start sharing my story, he'll just be like, well, he said, make sure you let him know that we was kids. Make sure you tell him that we was kids. And I even had a conversation with him, you know, prior to me really, you know, starting to share, telling him I forgive him, you know, at the prompting of my therapist, you know, like, I just want you to know I forgive you. Like, because again, I felt like I needed to release him to kind of try to help him heal. As I'm healing, right? I'm like, if the reason why you're still getting high, or just whatever the case may be, if you're struggling with what you did to me, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I forgive you. Like, I don't want to keep you a prisoner of your own guilt, because of what you did to me. I want to release you. You know what I'm saying? Kind of from that. And so we did have that conversation. I can remember him saying he appreciates it, him thanking me, for saying that I don't really know past that how much of an impact it had on him. But yeah, so we had, these types of talks, right, leading up to prior to me actually being public. And it's still almost like when he hears me, it's one thing for me to talk to him about it, right? But when he hears me like on a public platform type of thing, sharing with strangers who may or may not be judging him and all, that's when he starts to have issues. You know what I'm saying? It's like he can acknowledge it in a conversation with me and him, but it's like he don't feel like it should go past outside of the family. Yeah. Even though I feel like I gave him the heads up that I was gonna share, but my mom still claims that he was blindsided. And I'm like, how was he blindsided? I don't know.
Yeah. So, like I said, I try not to give too many opinions.
Yeah.
However, I will say this. In any situation, when something becomes public, it probably is human nature, regardless, to have that feeling of this is coming out, like this is the real deal every single time. But more so, I do these interviews not just for something to be exposed, but to get to like the root cause of why we think it even happened, and I haven't spoken to your brother. I can only talk to you, and I don't know the different conversations that you've had with him outside of, what you told me. But sometimes I wish, like, we would know, like, why did he do that? Like, maybe if you the next time that you do share with someone, why does he even know why he did it? Some people might have was exposed to sex at an early age and saw it and said, I want to practice that. And the only person that told me is my little sister.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So at the end of the day, not making any excuses, because it's definitely inexcusable. But it is good to hear that you forgive him, you release him, and he does have to release himself at the end of the day, because he's not going to be able to move forward and get the help that he needs. But all in all, it is a reason, like you had stated before, that your therapist said that your mother has her own hurt that she's dealing with, that she doesn't want to talk about or delve into that. So the same with your brother, if he can just stay in that place, and most of the time, the very issues that we don't want to talk about, those touchy issues that we need to touch on. So that is something that is very important to see what would make him want to come in there. What did he see? What was he even exposed in? Who touched him? And in my book, most of the time, someone touched him, someone didn't touch him. Something he saw, something he didn't saw, to make him want to feel something like that from his source. Did he penetrate you?
No.
Okay, so he didn't penetrate. So basically, when he more than likely was acting out something.
I got a trunk full of demons. Bind them up tight now, we ain't let none go. Trunk full of demons. Ride around flexing. I see in the Holy Ghost. Yeah, I
had a trunk full of demons, so I had to cash them out. Coughing and sneeze, Bible I'm read. I serve the master now. Dump a few creeds, stuck in the fees. I ain't been preaching, no. I just been living the word. I just been putting in work. I'm always ready to serve. You always stay in the church. I'm in the mud, foot in the dirt, foot on their neck, foot on the serve. The last gon' be first. They laughed at me first. Now I hit them with truth where it hurt. Don't tell me in June you put on a skirt. You filled up with pride. I'd rather live poor. I own a house, came from sleeping on floors. Just put a demon in the back of the Accord.
I got a trunk full of demons, cause